McDaniel threading the needle to Williams. Jet Howard for three, and Michigan now stretching things out again. Howard with 11, a 53-39 lead.
Hey, welcome in. It's the Michigan Basketball Postgame Live. I'm Dennis Fithy, and that was Kevin Kugler on the call, along with Robbie Hummel on the Big Ten Network tonight as Michigan wins their third straight 93-72 tonight over Nebraska. And 3 in a row sounds pretty good and just in time. That's what Michigan needed to do. We've talked about it, start stacking some W's, and that's what you do when you win 3 in a row. We're ready to talk about it with you. You can get your comments in. You can call it in on Twitter. You can do all of those different things. Or you can just listen to me tell you how this game went. This was a game that that Michigan was out of the gates very impressive. They looked like they were just going to run away and hide from Nebraska. You know, when you're Michigan, you got Nebraska, you could say this is quote unquote their last easy game. Like Michigan should have won this game, double-digit favorite and everything else. And they come out, they just look like they were going to run away from the Cornhuskers and blow them off the court. And that's what they were doing. And then you get late in the first half, and there was a little bit of a push from the coming back from the Cornhuskers. I was trying to put the box score up there, which I will get to, but I put some notes on this game, and U of M starts out on fire from downtown. They're up 24 points, and it looks like this one's going to be over. But and everyone looks good. Now, Hunter Dickinson only had 2 points in the first half, but they didn't need him. He was doing some things defensively, and everybody else was just going off. But then Nebraska put that 17-5 run to pull themselves within 12 points. Actually had a shot there at the end to get it to single digits. But Michigan was up 12 at the half, 46-34. A lot of good numbers for U of M when you looked at the stats at the break, shooting 64% from the field, including 57% from downtown in the first half. And these two guys, a lot of people, we talk about these guys a lot because TW2, Terrence Williams II, anytime you do any kind of Michigan basketball show, you say, well, who needs to step it up down the stretch? Who, and you looked at that fifth starter, and, there's, a lot of suggestions about what to do. Go to the bench, try somebody else, stay with Terrence Williams. Howard has elected to stay with Williams, and today TW2 was fantastic right out of the gate. He was tremendous. And then the other guy, and I've said this more than once, is Joey Baker. Joey Baker, a big key. Michigan needs, all teams do, Michigan needs another threat from outside, from downtown. Jet Howard, pretty good from out there, but they need somebody like Joey Buckets, and Joey Baker was tremendous in the first half as well. Both of those guys standing out. So that's a good sign. And then Nebraska did get within 9 early in the second half, but Michigan started firing again on all cylinders. It was a big 30-5 Michigan run. Then it was a 22-7 for Nebraska, 18-8, an 11-0 run for Nebraska, and they got within 10. But then Hunter Dickinson got an and one. And after just 2 points in the first half, he ended up with 16. So he had 14 in the second half, including the biggest basket of the game, that and one that put Michigan, and he converted, and put Michigan back up 13. And, that, as we say, was that Michigan able to secure the win. And that puts them at 14-10 now overall, and 6-5 in the conference. We'll look at the upcoming schedule, but let's look at that box score for tonight's game. How about that? Jet Howard had 22 points, a board, and an assist on 7 of 17 shooting. Mentioned Dickinson just with 2 points in the first half, but ends up with 16 and 10 for the big man. Doug McDaniel hit the first shot of the game and ended up with 14 points and 4 feeds for the freshman point guard. Kobe Buffkin had been on a tear in February, and these numbers, 13, 7, and 5, not too shabby there for Kobe. And here's TW2, one of the stars of the game. And he was good in the first half, good out of the blocks, 10 points, 5 boards, 2 assists. Real easy to say, you'll take that every time. That's what you're looking for from TW2 every time out. If he can do that, you're going to feel really good about Michigan being able to make a push to the NCAA tournament. And same thing again, Joey Baker. How about Baker? 11 points off the Michigan bench, 3 of 5 from downtown. Most of those points coming in the first half. And Baker was good and deadly tonight. That's what you like. Terrace Reed was active. Terrace Reed has become a foul magnet. And I think there's at least 1 or 2 of the fouls, maybe even more than that. You look to say that are cheap, or as Bill Rafferty would say, nickel and dime fouls by Terrace Reed Jr. And he was able to walk up to the charity stripe and knock one down. How about Jace Howard knocking down a 3, a contested 3 from the side in there? Will Cheddar played. Remember, he was sick last week, and he's coming back. He was he got a goose egg in the scoring department, but a board and an assist. He was active, throwing his body around. Michigan had Isaiah Barnes missed this game with a non-COVID illness, and you remember that Cheddar was sick and left the bench at the Northwestern game, and then Phil Martelli and one of the Michigan trainers were out for the specific reason of COVID. So, but they, at least they said this on the broadcast, that those guys, the trainer and Martelli, have not been around the team. So, one of those things, like if you say, well, they were at practice, then you might think, oh no, what's, how contagious that is. Maybe that could be, an issue. And some of the Big Ten teams, Northwestern, for one, had the issue where they had to miss a game, and then they ended up where they had to play a bunch in a row to get them back. Let's look at some of the team numbers at the end for this one. Michigan ends up, after their blistering pace in the first half, for the game, still pretty good. 57.6% from the field, including 53.8% from downtown. You like to see this if you're a Michigan fan as well. 11 of 13 from the charity stripe. That's good. I guess I'm going to have to look at CBS Sports. They didn't have the free throws right, or I wasn't reading it right. Terrace Reed was 2 for 2 from the charity stripe. And you can say that's no big deal, but for Terrace, but talking about his free throws, and I know they were cheering him during the game. You heard the Chrysler crowd. Good job by Reed Jr. I don't want to slight him at the charity stripe. 2 of 2 from the free throw line for Terrace Reed, who ends up, I guess I was looking at the field goals because he was 1 of 3 from the field. But so, sorry about that. Big Hoss, the nickname for the true freshman Terrace Reed Jr. Other than that, Michigan out-rebounded Nebraska 35-23. Turnovers, 13. I'd like to get those down, maybe a few. I think they took care of it better in the second half than they did in the first half. And besides a few stretches where, you're going to have runs in a game, we all know that, watching of college basketball, there were a few stretches where Michigan looked like they, and you, of course, you credit the other team, but too long of a stretch for Nebraska, where if you thought they had that kind of effort or took, the couple minutes that they did off like they did against Nebraska during some of those stretches, and if it was a better team, that might be in bigger trouble. So they're going to have to, they'll want to improve on that. Take a look at it. I don't know. It's not making an adjustments, effort wise, whatever it is. Work on it. You got to play the full 40 minutes. You can't take any time off. I think that'd be the thing to say if you just want to throw a general statement out about the runs and about what you saw from Nebraska on that side. BN did not watch the game, but he likes the numbers that he's seeing. Look, I'll put this one and put a nice, neat bow on it before we check the schedule. Michigan came out and did what they were supposed to do tonight. They looked really good at the start. They came out with the energy. They came out hitting everything, and then a lot of their ancillary players, not their stars, were making buckets. TW2 is one. Baker off the bench. A lot of good signs. Doug McDaniel, and then the big three. Hunter Dickinson only with a bucket in the first half, and Kobe Buffkin and Jet was pretty good right off the bat. Knocking down some threes. But the other big two really didn't need them, but they're going to in these remaining 7 games in the Big Ten regular season, and then obviously in Chicago for the Big Ten tournament. So all in all, good night from the Maize and Blue, who put themselves in position to make Saturday a big game against Indiana. I've been watching Indiana. Watched Indiana play Purdue at home on Saturday. They won that game. They were impressive. That crowd was impressive. It's going to be the Michigan crowd that needs to be impressive on Saturday because it'll be in Ann Arbor. And then last night, I also watched Indiana exact revenge and take down Rutgers. They had lost to Rutgers earlier, but the Hoosiers got a little winning streak going themselves. But it sets up for a nice Saturday. Let's check that upcoming schedule, the Michigan schedule that is brought to you by the Maize and Blue Reviews. Good afternoon, Michigan football and basketball. You can hear that right on this feed that you're watching or listening to right now. At 1 o'clock tomorrow, we'll sleep on this one and then talk about this one as well. Let's look at that schedule. And Saturday is the next one that you want to take a look at. It is going to be a 6 o'clock start, and here they come. The Hoosiers, Mike Woodson and company, will be in the building. And, Michigan, when you start taking a look at the winnable games, when you're at home, you're going to want to win the rest of your home games and then see if you can pick off a road win. And I would look at these next two like, man, if Michigan beats Indiana, Wisconsin is beatable. The Valentine's Day, circle that one, Tuesday, February the 14th in Madison. If Michigan could go to Wisconsin and win that one, that would be big. And then, hey, you're talking about what? 4 in a row, 5 in a row, 6 in a row, because you're going to want to beat Michigan State as well. Is it all doable? It is. And, Michigan, it was Jay Wright when Michigan was playing over the weekend. And Jay Wright, the former Villanova coach, at the end of the game said, Michigan looks like they played like an NCAA tournament team today. They look like an NCAA tournament team. Well, they, for the most part, look like an NCAA tournament team tonight. Can they continue that? Because if they want to play and get into the NCAA tournament, they're going to have to win the majority of these games. The only one, and I have on the screen, Indiana at Wisconsin, Michigan State, and Rutgers, Michigan's next 4 games. And the one that is the most difficult is the at Rutgers. It's a tough place to play. Rutgers is a pretty good team. That one's going to be tough, but Michigan can beat both Indiana and Michigan State. And if they want to be in the tournament, I think they're going to have to do that. And then they're going to have to find a way to get a road victory. They end up in March with their final 2 games on the road at Illinois and at Indiana. Sure, they could beat Illinois. Last year, they went down to Ohio State, to Columbus without Hunter Dickinson and won that game to get into the NCAA tournament. So they've put themselves in position to make it exciting. The fans, the more you win, the more they're going to be engaged and start looking at you more. And I think Saturday, and I think a lot of people watch Michigan play Ohio State Sunday, no football and everything else. So kind of taking the turn. Let's see, Michigan, Ohio State. Michigan looked really good in that game. They looked good 90% of the game tonight. And then, you beat Indiana. These are big games, big names. And you start getting the fan base behind you as well and start to think about their potential of getting into the tourney. The punter says, real nice effort on the offensive side of the ball tonight. They still need to play consistent defense. They aren't going to pull off road wins with that kind of effort on D. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that. If they can take the lessons learned from tonight, it's that you got to, even if you're playing, and they were playing fantastic for, right out of the gate, all the things that you want to do, come out with energy and everything else. You just can't take your foot off the gas. You got to just stay there. You got to play every minute. And you can talk about it being a young team, whatever else, but the punters, you're smart. How many times you don't like hearing it a lot of times as a fan because you hear everybody say it and this cliche that it's going to start on the defensive end. But yeah, for Michigan, they got to play defense, and it is going to start for them on the defensive side. You saw them, having a difficult time guarding, some pick and rolls and some guys slip into the basket. Those are things that you can work on. Can you clean it up in time for the stretch run? Clean it up on defense. Clean it up for the effort for the entire game. Clean it up if you're the young team having the experience, knowing that you're going to need these W's. It's like now the games here, there used to be, and I don't know if the selection committee still looks at this or not, but they used to say, they have the resume and everything. They would say last 6 games. How did they do in the last 6 games? Well, Michigan now, they are down to 6 games, in the regular season, right? So there you go. That's what we're talking about from this team. I say that, and let's just count them up. Indiana, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Rutgers, and Wisconsin again. That is 5, and then they have 2 more in March. So I'll adjust what I said. That's why I double checked it. 7 games left. But no time like the present to start finishing strong if you're this Michigan team. And they've stacked the wins, getting those dubs. That's what you want to see. I've said that a few times, and I'm going to say it one more time. That's what you want to see from Michigan. They win it tonight, 93-72. We'll talk with you basketball-wise at the Michigan Basketball Postgame Live Show coming up Saturday night, Super Bowl Eve, after the Michigan-Indiana game as the Wolverines go for, count them, 4 in a row. That'll get your attention. That'll get people's attention. That'll get your attention. They could win 4 in a row. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 1 o'clock or after the Indiana game.